This is Tanisha Staggs, and this is part 3 and the final part of my discussion on race, culture, and ethnicity. Um, well, and we are talking about failure to realize your potential, and we're talking about why some people fail and others don't. From a personal note, with respect to myself, I was in a position where I attended a high school in the suburbs of Philadelphia. It was called Penwood. And Penwood is in Lansdowne, Pennsylvania. And I was doing very well there. My grades were really good. I was in the top classes. Of course, I was met with adversity because I was a student whose parents cared about my education, and I, in turn, cared about it. So I received really good grades at Penwood, but my parents chose to move to another part of the county, and they moved 8 miles away to Media. Now, the average family income for Lansdowne and Yaden, because that's where the students from Penwood came from, was $49,700 per year. Just 8 miles away in Media, the average family income was $89,514. And the dropout rate at Penwood was 1 in 4, and in turn, the retention rate at the high school that I went to in Media called Strathaven was at about 97%. With respect to how those schools fared amongst the state of Pennsylvania, Penwood was given a 4. The Pennsylvania state average was 7, and Strathaven was given a 9. So when I came into Strathaven, I had a false sense of security. And this is perhaps the one thing that I would never let any student that I teach have, is a false sense of security. And I don't let my daughter feel that way either, because she's a straight A student. But I tell her that there are children with a lot more rigorous coursework. There are children who have been exposed to traveling outside the country, living outside the country, speak different languages. They've been exposed to things that she has not necessarily been exposed to. These children are the people who she'll be competing with in 7 years for a spot in college and scholarships, and then 12, 15 years from now, she'll be competing with them for jobs. So it's important that we realize that just because we're a big fish in a small pond, we need to be able to be a big fish in the ocean. We need to be able to strive and set our goals high so that we don't only test well within our school district, but we test well statewide and nationwide, and even internationally, because as we know, the world is not as large as it once was. There are different countries who are surpassing the United States with respect to the preparation of their students and the performance of their students. So the biggest thing that I would like to stress to any student, even myself, is to be extremely competent, extremely prepared, and extremely thirsty to stay aware of what's going on around in the world around you. I think that is a major equity builder. I think that humility with yourself and transparency will help a student to let down their guards and talk to you and tell you what their problems are and be honest with it, because there might be a disability in the classroom that stems from home or stems from no one encouraging them. It's always important to encourage a student. It's always important to have the student set realistic goals. They can be lofty to the student, but you have to keep them realistic. And then help them set small goals on the road to achieving that large goal. I think that students have to have security when they get into the world. They have to be cognizant of the potential of the students around them, but they also have to be confident in themselves and feel like they've been prepared and feel comfortable in pursuing what it is that they want to get. Um, I think that a failure to bridge the gap could result in poorly prepared students. I believe that building equity in the class would involve um, not being lazy as an instructor, always keeping myself up to date with the latest information, not being afraid to say, I don't know now, but I can find out. And then having the ability to do research and being humble enough to realize when, okay, I'm not the best person to present this information, but I will look and find the best resource for my students because I do want them to achieve. And it's not about me getting a pat on the back or me seeming like the hero, but it's more of the student being the hero. I believe that honesty is important, and taking a self inventory and um, always being able to not take yourself that seriously. I think that when you look for the best in your student, you pull out the best in yourself because you want to give them your best effort. When you do research about the student, you will exhaust every effort that you can ethically, legally, to make them achieve, then you're promoting equity in your classroom. But you also have to be a realist and know that you cannot change every student. But when you realize that you're making the effort to change every student, you'll reach a good percentage of them. So that was my discussion on race, ethnicity, and culture. Hope that everyone enjoyed it. This is part 3 of 3. God bless you all.